What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another WNBA video. We have ourselves a 5-game slate to dive into for Friday, August 1st. So I'm going to break down and analyze each of those games. We're going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points on the spread. And then when it's all said and done, make sure you check down there into the pinned comment. You'll find a link down there that's going to send you over to the Guy Boston Sports channel. That's where all of my final plays for these games are going to be listed for free. Now, before we dive into these games, let's go ahead and jump over there to the website. We need to recap our plays from Wednesday. Let's see what we took then and how that ended up going down. We had ourselves a good day on Wednesday, man. We go 3-1 on the day. We took Aaliyah Boston over 3.5 assists, and that is our one loss on the night. But we did take Alyssa Thomas over 16.5 rebounds and assists. She cleared that line with ease for us. Now, these next two are definitely sweaty, man. The Lynx laying 6.5 and the Dream on the money line. I had those pulled up on my TV, right? Split screen, watching both of those games, sweating it out until the very end. But we do cash on both. So we finished 3-1 on the day. We land in the profit in the green, which is where we want to be, guys, end of the day, right? And man, definitely needed, right? I haven't done a recap in a little while, but man, it was a rough stretch there in mid-June through the beginning of July as well. Found ourselves in over a 5-unit hole there. I've kind of been trying to dig away ever since, man. And we've had some ups, and then we've had some downs. We've had some ups, and we've had some downs. But here in the last week or so, we've had a few more ups than downs. So we've been able to start chipping away at that. We've got that unit hole down to, we're down negative 2.38 units now. So, kind of cut that a little more in half, what we were down. And we are back to 500 as far as our record is concerned, sitting at 135 and 135. So let's start stacking up on those units, man. Let's get back in the green, and let's do that before the playoffs start, man. We got plenty of time between then and now going to those playoffs in the green and add some more profit to our bankroll at the end of the day. That's my hope, man, and that is my goal. So let's go ahead and look at this 5-game slate. Let's see what kind of value we can find on the board here tonight. Smash that like button down there for me if you can, guys, and hit subscribe if you have not already. Let's dive into the first game, man. 5 games on the board, and 4 of them tip off at 7:30. Don't get me started, man. First game going to be the Phoenix Mercury taking on the Atlanta Dream. Mercury opened up 1-point favorites. That's now up to 2.5. Total sitting at 165.5, and that's up from the 161.5 that it opened up at as well. Atlanta, they're going to be back home after playing 7 of their last 8 on the road. They come into this one 16-11 straight up, 14-13 against the spread on the year. They are 8-4 at home, but just 6-6 to the number in those games. They're going to come in off of a close down to the wire 3-point win over the Wings on Wednesday. They've won 3 of their last 4 now. The Mercury, they've lost 4 of their last 5. They're coming in off of a loss to the Fever in Indiana their last time out. And they lost those other games to tough teams, man. The Liberty, the Lynx, and then these Dream as well. The Mercury, they're 16-10 this season, 14-12 to the number. They're 7-6 on the road, 6-7 against the spread in those games. I'm seeing Ryan Howard listed as a game time decision here, and that's the first time in a while that we've seen her listed as such. She's typically just been out since that knee injury, right? So I can't find any more info on it, though, right? No new information on it, so hard telling if she's going to be in or out on this one. If you've been following along, man, we all know how the injury report has gone this year with the WNBA. So if she plays, we'll find out probably 30 minutes before tip-off. Jordan Canada, she did miss Atlanta's last game with illness, but she should be back here for this one, I would assume, right? The Mercury, they're fully healthy and looking to build some momentum, man. Like I said, losers of 4 of their last 5. And this is a revenge spot for them here, man. They dropped that first head-to-head with Atlanta by 11 just last week. But this will be Phoenix's 4th game of a 5-game road trip. And looking at these two in their last 5 games, the Dream have been the better team on the glass, allowing the fewest offensive and defensive rebounds per game. But other than that, man, this is another one of those scenarios, another one of those games where where one team is excelling offensively, the other team is struggling defensively. Staying in the last 5 games, the Dream are shooting from 3 at the second highest shooting percentage. They're hitting from above the break at the 3rd highest percentage. Mercury are giving up the 4th most threes at the 3rd highest shooting percentage and the highest percentage from above the break. Mercury are making the most threes from the right corner themselves, the 3rd most shots from the mid-range, and the 4th most from outside the restricted area in the paint. Atlanta, they're giving up the most threes from that right side, the 3rd most field goals from the mid-range, and the most from outside the restricted area inside the paint. So I get the short line here because ultimately, man, I like the total here more than anything, and I would lean towards an over. For the side, this spot, it's situationally for the Dream with the rest disadvantage. It does make me hesitant to look any way other than the Mercury. Atlanta has had 2 sets of back-to-backs here within the last week, a ton of games on the road. They're back home for just this one, and then their next before heading back out for another road trip. A stretch of 10 of 13 games on the road in this short of a season, man. It's pretty wild if you ask me. So yeah, lean towards the over and then a slight Mercury lean in this one for me, but I don't think I get there on the side, man. This is definitely kind of it just feels like a pick 'em to me. And yeah, if you were on the dream side, I would have a hard time talking you off of it. Really, like I said, the main thing keeping me off the dream here is that rest disadvantage, but we've seen how much that cannot matter here in the W this season as well. So, like I said, I like the total more than anything. But the thing about the total in this one is that we're not getting the best of the number here at 165.5, man. I wish I would have caught it at that 161.5. So I'm not sure that I end up playing anything in this one. It might be something that we just look to player props once those become available. But if I was going to go one way or the other, I would go with that over rather than playing the side. And next up, going to be looking at the Golden State Valkyries and the Chicago Sky. Now, we don't have a line for this one yet, man. Vegas is waiting to see what happens with that Valkyries and Mystics game. I am recording this, Thursday night before that game tips off. So we're going to look at this just a little bit still, though, and just kind of get a little bit of a feel for this. Golden State, they're going to be on a back-to-back here and at a rest disadvantage as well. It's going to be their fifth game over their last 8 days. Chicago, they've struggled, though, in their own right, man. They have lost and failed to cover in 6 straight games. Valkyries beat the Sky by 5 in their one head-to-head on the year so far, but that was in Golden State, and Chicago was without Camila Cardoso in that one. And a few more notes on that game, man. We know the Valkyries are decent on the glass, and they won the rebound battle in that one by 2, but Reese torched this Valkyries defense, man, for 17 points and 18 boards. Like I said, without Cardoso out there as well, drawing attention in the paint. So I like Chicago's front court in this game, man. Typically Golden State holds it down in the paint. I think they struggle a little bit with the Chicago front court. And then Kayla Thornton, man, she also went off in that close win for Golden State, 29 points, 8 of 15 shooting, but she is now out for the year. Monique Billings is, she's missed time. She's probably going to be questionable for this one as well. We'll have to wait and see once that injury report comes out. Looking at the Sky side, though, they could also still be down Ariel Atkins, man. There's no official word on her yet. So once we have lines and we can get an injury report, I'll have to look into this one a little bit more, man, and we can get a better feel for it. But initially, I would be leaning Chicago here. And next up, going to be looking at the New York Liberty taking on the Connecticut Sun. Liberty are now 10.5 point favorites. That's up from the 9 that it opened up, but it's down also. It had gotten all the way up to 12.5. So we are seeing that number come back down a little bit here. That total opened up 164.5. We are up to 167.5. That's going to be the second meeting between these two, and the first resulted in one of the most lopsided games that we've seen this season. It was a 100-52 point dominant Liberty win back in early June. New York, man, they have some injuries that they're working through currently, and honestly, it's been this way for much of the season for New York, right? They get Phoebus back from Eurobasket, they get Jones back from her ankle injury, and now Stewie's dealing with a leg injury, man. It's just been one thing after another for this New York team. Kennedy Burke and Nair Sabali are both out for the next couple weeks as well for the Liberty. The Sun, they're back to full strength, and honestly, they've played some pretty decent basketball as of late, man. In the last 5, Connecticut's offense has risen from the dead, scoring 86 points per game, fifth in the W. And although they've shot better recently than they have on the year, a lot of these points are stemming from their aggressiveness on the defensive end, where they're forcing the second most turnovers and scoring the second most points off of those turnovers. They're hitting the fourth most second chance points as well in New York. They're allowing the third most offensive rebounds and second chance points. New York also sits at just 8th for turnovers given up and points scored off of those turnovers over their last 5. This one as well is another one where I like the total more than the side, and I would be leaning towards playing an over here if I played anything in this game. But once again, we're not getting the best of the number, man, with that thing already moving up from 164.5 up to 167.5. Um, it feels silly though to be hesitant laying points against the Sun, right? But they're a young team, man, that they played well off the energy from their home crowd as of late, especially. They're getting out in transition. They're playing with high energy on both ends of the court. Yeah, man. Obviously, the Liberty are the better team here, and I'm gonna lean that way, but I'm not sure that I can get there, man, with the side laying the points with them, man. Then next up, gonna be looking at the Indiana Fever taking on the Dallas Wings. Fever laying 3.5 in this one. That's up 1 point from the 2.5 that it opened. Total sitting at 169.5. Indiana, they come into this one on a 3-game winning streak. They have won 6 of their last 8 now as well. Sitting at 15-12 on the year, 14-13 against the spread, 6-6 on the road, 5-7 to the number in those road games. The Wings, they are now 8-20, 13-15 against the spread, and just 7-7 to the number at home, 5-9 overall. Dallas, they look clean on the injury report, man, for the first time in a while, and I haven't seen any new news on Clark. We'll look at this one assuming that she's not going to be able to go. Now, it's the third head-to-head between the two so far, the Fever taking each of those, an 8-point win in Dallas in the end of June, a 19-point win in Indy mid-July. The Wings, they've been the best offensive rebounding team on the year. They rank second still over their last 5 in that regard as well, but the Fever are giving up the fewest in their last 5 and the fewest second chance points, and that's an area that Dallas typically thrives, man, against a lot of teams. This was a big factor in the prior 2 meetings between these 2 men as well. Indiana did not allow the Wings to beat them up down low or on the glass, specifically that offensive glass. And staying in those last 5, man, both teams are hitting from the perimeter at a 36% rate. Indy sitting at 6th in the W, Dallas sitting at 5th. The Wings sit at just 7th for three-pointers made, though, while the Fever are hitting the most across the league. Dallas is giving up the 4th most threes, but are doing so at the 4th lowest shooting percentage. The Fever are 6th for three-pointers allowed, and they're giving up the highest shooting percentage to opponents from deep. So I want to get there with Dallas at home, man. I do. Feel like the Fever are primed for a letdown here on the road, but it's hard to overlook what they did to this Wings team just a couple weeks back. They outscored them 58-38 in the paint. They forced them into twice as many turnovers, and they outscored the Wings 23-9 on points off of those turnovers. And that's not just some kind of fluke, man. You know what I mean? The Fever have been getting after it on that end, forcing the most turnovers per game over their last 5 and hitting the most points off of turnovers in that span as well. So it'll be a Fever lean on the side here for me, man. And then for the total, these two, they've crushed 2 overs on the season so far in their meetings, and they've done so in 7 straight head-to-heads, 8 of the last 10, and one of those that didn't hit in that 10, that landed as a push. The Wings have gone over in 3 straight, 5 of their last 7, 7 of their last 10, and the Fever have hit over now in 4 of their last 5, 7 of their last 10. I'm going to lean over looking at this game as well, man. And then next up, looking at the Sparks and the Storm. This is our night game, 10 p.m. tip-off time. Storm are laying 5.5, total sitting at 166.5. This is the only game so far where we have not seen any line movement on the side or the total. LA has finally been brought back down to earth, right? They won 5 straight, 6 of 7, and then the Sparks were beat at home by the Aces in a 15-point blowout. And they were primed for a letdown, right? The Sparks, they continue to struggle at home, though, man. That should be noted. They've gone just 3-9 in LA, but on the road, as they are here, they've gone 8-6 straight up, 9-4 with 1 push to the number. The Storm on their end, they've alternated wins and losses over their last 9 games now. They sit at 16-11 on the year, 14-13 against the spread. They've gone 8-5 at home this year, but just 5-8 to the number. It's a battle between what's been the best offense in the W over the last 5 games in the Sparks in this one, and then the best defense over the last 5 games in the Storm. Seattle was sitting at first for defensive rating in the last 5, but they are second from last for offensive rating. Sparks are coming in at second for offensive rating, but also fifth defensively. They sit at second for net rating in their last 5. The LA Sparks, Seattle sits at third. LA in those 5, man, they shot just under 50% from the field, first in the W, just under 37% from deep. That's good for fourth. While the Storm, they're coming in second from last for three-point shooting percentage at just 30% and 42% from the field. That is third from last. It's going to be interesting, man, because the Sparks, they have really been able to get after opponents on the perimeter, but in their last 5, Seattle is giving up the fewest threes and at the lowest shooting percentage as well. So which side is going to win in this battle here? Seattle isn't doing well, though, keeping teams off the defensive glass, but they are sitting at 4th for offensive rebounds allowed and second chance points given up. Now, these two, they've met once on the year already. That resulted in a 31-point Storm blowout. But the Sparks were extremely shorthanded in that one, man. No Allemand, no Burrell, and no Kelsey Plum. I can see why Seattle is favored here in this spot, man. I do, but I think I'd rather look at catching the points with the Sparks here, man. I think the Storm may be just a little bit overvalued, and I think the Sparks might be slightly undervalued after that recent loss, right? 5.5 just seems like a little too much, man, considering the covering records of each of these teams as well. When you look at them, home versus away. Give me the Sparks in this one, man. I'd rather catch the points with the Sparks here. And for the total, let the overs continue, right? Because I can't take the Sparks and lean under. So 8 of their last 10 have hit to the over, and on the year, 17 of 26 that they've played so far. Seattle has hit under in 7 of their last 10, however, and sit at just 9th for pace. But the Sparks come in at 3rd in that regard, and I think they're going to push the pace here. My only concern here is that if the shots aren't falling for Seattle in a fast-paced game, man, it could get ugly quick, and then we've seen them come out and just put up some straight duds, right? So this one is going to be a slight lean on the over, but I'm not sure I get there with that. All right, guys, and as I was about to wrap up the video, I said, hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and check one more time, see if we have some player props, and we do. So let's go ahead and jump over to Outlier. I got a few that I'm going to go over with you guys. First play I'm going to be looking at is going to be in that Mercury and Dream game. Alyssa Thomas, her rebounds and assists over 16.5. Now, there is a little bit of new news here as well. As I was looking at the player props, I saw that Brittany Griner has now been listed as a game time decision for Atlanta as well with a neck injury. It looks like a neck sprain. It says the severity of the problem is unknown. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that one. But yeah, a neck sprain. I think it said that doubtful for Friday's game. So opens up the middle, right? Alyssa Thomas, rebounds and assists. She's been great for this. We literally just cashed on this same exact prop, that same exact line over 16.5. See, in her last 5 games, she's hit at a 80% rate, 4 in a row. And you can keep pushing it back, man. 70% over her last 10, 65% over the last 20, 13 out of the 20 games so far, or in those 20 games. And then on the course of the season, 13 of the 21 games that she's played so far, right? 62% hit rate overall on the year. So we do love to see that. We look at this insight from Outlier. She has exceeded this mark in 5 of her last 6 games on the road as well. That's an 83% hit rate there. So we definitely love to see that, man. Alyssa Thomas over 16.5 rebounds plus assist. The next play I'd be looking at would be Tina Charles. Her rebounds over 5.5. This is another one, man, just been crushing this number, right? 60% over her last 10, 80% in the last 5 games. 4 of the last 5, she just went under in their last time out against the Seattle Storm. You look at this insight from Outlier as well. She has exceeded this mark in 13 of her last 17 games when playing against bottom 5 defenses for rebounds allowed. That's a 76% hit rate. She's averaging just under 9 rebounds in those games. So definitely love to see it, man. Head to head, she's gone over this mark in 6 of the 7 times. Now, these are all last season. We do need to keep that in mind. That was with the Dream, right? And this one here is going to be this year with the Connecticut Sun, where she did only hit for 1 rebound. Now, if we scroll on down, we can see she got the minutes in that one, right? So just was not on the glass, not effective on the glass whatsoever. But New York, man, that's back in early June. They were at full strength, right? New York is not at full strength now. Missing quite a bit down low, right? You got Jonquel Jones down there still, right? Excellent rebounder. But man, not having Brianna Stewart, Nair Sabally, or Kennedy Burke even, man, that's just more size and length out there that you are missing. And New York has been rough on the glass over their last 5, especially, right? So definitely like this look for Tina Charles. There's a reason why it's juiced at minus 142 on FanDuel, man. There's a reason why, but definitely like this one here. Next one I'm looking at, Sophie Cunningham, her 3-pointers over 1.5. Now, before all of you go crazy in the comments, man, I know a handful of you lost on this play a few games back, man. When I think the whole world was on Sophie Cunningham, either the over 9.5 points or the over 1.5 3-pointers, right? So many people on it that I was looking at it as well, and I decided to go ahead and back off, man. Glad I did because I've had enough bad luck with player props this year. But I do like this one for her here, man. She's failed to hit this in 2 games in a row, right? But at a 60% rate over her last 10. And she's shooting the ball well, right? 46% over those 10 games as well. She gets the attempts, and I think that she'll get them here as well, going up against this Dallas Wings defense that sits at 8th for 3-pointers allowed. If you look at them against the guard position specifically, they're sitting at 9th. Against the forward position, sitting at 10th. And she's going to hover around the wing, playing, in between both of those positions. I know it's got her labeled as a guard here, but we can see her at the 3 as well. So I definitely like this look for Sophie Cunningham. I think that like I said, I think she's going to get the looks, and it's just a matter of her knocking them in. She's sitting at 46%, going up against a Dallas defense that's sitting at 12th in the league, giving up 36% shooting from 3-point range. So I like this one here. Minus 121 over there at Novig is going to be the best price that we can find this one for. And next up, man, going right back to Gabby Williams. We've cashed on her so many times with the points and assists this season, and we've cashed a lot at 17.5. That line is now down to 16.5. She's had a little bit up and downs in the last 10, right? You can see a little more red in here, but we still see much more green than red, right? 70% hit rate over her last 10, 67% on the course of the season. 18 of the 27 games played so far, she has gone over that mark. And looking at her head-to-head against these Sparks, now 2 of these games were last season, but the Sparks team in the front court looks pretty similar, right? Rakia Jackson, De'Erica Hamby, Azurá Stevens, they were all there last year. They were all starting as well in the front court when Gabby Williams put up these numbers on them. And she also cleared this mark earlier this season. Now, just got up and over that mark, but she did get up and over it, right? If we look at this inside from Outlier, we can see that she has exceeded this mark in 13 straight games when playing against teams in the bottom 5 for points allowed defensively, averaging 20.8 points plus assists in that game. We just need her to get to 17. So I like this one, minus 110 over there at FanDuel, a really good price as well. I also like looking at Nneka Ogwumike, her points over 16.5 in that game. Get that over there at FanDuel, minus 128 is going to be the best price that we can find. In her last 10, she's hitting that at a 50% rate, right? But look at her in her last 5. It's an 80% rate, and she's kind of clearing that mark, man, hitting at 19.6 points per game in that time. And she's just shooting the ball extremely well over those last 5, right? 55% from the field, putting up 14 attempts per game and shooting at 55%. So we definitely love to see it. Head to head, she's done well against the Sparks as well. And same thing, on the last prop, this is that same exact front court that she's been going against. These numbers are from last year. Rickea Jackson, Azrae Stevens, Derek Hamby, they're all going to be there. They were all there last year when NECA was putting up these points on them, and she hit for 26 points against them earlier this season. And like I said, man, it gets head-to-head against them, shooting at 61%, right? Shooting even better. So yeah, definitely like a good Mikhail in this one. Her points over 16.5, minus 128 over there at FanDuel. And that is going to wrap it up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. Hit subscribe if you have not already. That's going to do it, man. Hope you guys all cash out. Have a great night tonight. See you back tomorrow for the next one.